right, you're going live on YouTube.
To tell everybody out there who's here in the room for us. And that being said,
Here.
Here.
White. Here.
Here.
Supervisor Mike.
I think we put time on the,
Bill, you can get closer or speak louder.
first item on the agenda, Officer Freeman, would you please lead us?
Unbelieving to the flag.
Nancy?
Approval of abstract. Resolved. Consider how board approved. Dated October 21st, 2020.
Second.
Motion. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Aye.
Thank you. Third item is public hearing. The clerk has provided the posting, and we will not be voting on this so that the residents have the opportunity. So we'll have the public hearing, move it to the next meeting for further consideration. Mr. Powell would like to introduce number 3.
Thank you. Public hearings consider a planning and development for properties located at 8697 and 8699 Bulletin Road, tax map number 092.01-04.0 and number 092.01-03.2. Whereas the property owner of 8697 and 8699 Bulletin Road, tax map number 092.01-04.0 and number 09.2-01-03.2 has requested a zone change. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board set Wednesday, October 28, 2020, 6:30 p.m. for a public hearing to consider a zone change from general commercial to planned unit development and tax map number 092.01-04.0 and number 092.01-03.2.
The board members have been briefed on this. I believe, Mike, I think we have you, I think we have one person up there on the screen. Yes, thank you. You hear us?
Yeah, were you asking for me? I'm having a little trouble hearing. I can hear most of what you're saying.
Everybody move your mics closer.
I'm Ben Gustafson with Hunt Engineers Architects representing CDS on the housing project here.
Okay, just for a little background until we get the volume up. This is an application that is adjacent to the current senior housing just off 311, next to the library. project to Champion Culver.
Go ahead, Phil.
Can you hear me now? I need the applicant to do your presentation.
I can hear, I mean, I think some of what you're saying. Did you ask me to give a presentation?
Correct.
Okay. Is it, would you like me to share my screen? Would that be, I don't know if you're able to see it there or not.
Yes, sure.
Okay. Let me open up the site plan here. And I will make sure I can. It's saying that the host disabled participant screen sharing. If it's possible for somebody to give me that option, I can.
Can you share it now?
No, it says I'm viewing the town board's screen. So I would assume somebody on the town board side shared their screen.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Procopio, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Steve, could you, if we can hear you, could you give us a little bit of a review of this project, please?
Sure. I think I heard you begin to say it's the property across from the library and adjacent to the current senior housing project that CDS did a couple of years ago. CDS has proposed a sister building, we'll call it, adjacent, more senior housing on this property that was is currently zoned general commercial. They applied for a PUD development plan, which would consist of their site development plan and the zone change to PUD. The planning board has reviewed it, done the seeker on it. The planning board has made a recommendation to the town board, a positive recommendation on the PUD for this project.
All right, Ben, go and try and share your screen.
And if I can add some more information. Let me see. Hey, there we go. Great. Let me share that and open up the drawing here. Sorry about that. So this is the existing site. Here's the library and the phase 1 project. So we have these two existing structures. There's an auto business that's run out of the property right now, and then a house that is on the property. Both of those structures would be removed, and all the existing, pavement and other parts, utilities of those structures would be removed as well. And also in accordance with the request of the planning board, we would remove some of these asphalt areas that are in the adjacent parcel to us. We've discussed that with the property owner, and they would allow us to remove those as well. And in the end, as we look at our next plan, our intent is to have an entrance drive off of Knowledge Lane. So it allows for both of our communities to have a similar entrance location. We don't need a DOT entrance off Brewerton. In discussion with the fire department, we're on board with getting a 911 address off of Knowledge Lane. So that way it's clear to everybody how to get access to the parcel for both emergency and postal office concerns. We're proposing, similar to our phase 1 project, a nice walking path around the building. We're relating to some of the gardens that the library has adjacent, providing some additional garden areas for the residents, sort of expanding on some of those existing features in that area. And then we have a sidewalk that connects over to the library as well, which was something that was important in phase one. We've worked through all the utilities and grading and stormwater management components with Aqua and the town engineer and the reviewing engineer, Mark Parrish as well. So we've really worked through a lot of the site plan and engineering issues, and the plans that we've submitted to date are really the final design plans. I mean, I can talk specifically about some of the components of the site if the town board is interested.
Oh, my God.
Specifically about some of the site.
I'm hearing myself echo about like 10 to 15 seconds later. So I was just pausing there to make sure if there was any specific questions.
Like, do you want to open up the floor questions?
I will open it up for input from the board.
Judy Boyke. I'm familiar with the project because I followed it through the planning board. I'm also familiar with the property. And I checked with Steve Procopio, and he explained to me about the PUD, only because the other project that that was built was part of the commons. And now this is new property, and that's the reason for this PUD. So I fully understand and I agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could you get into a little bit on the tenant mix that you're trying to get in this particular building here? 'Cause I know it's senior housing, but I understand you have a satisfied house. Could you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, Justin Miranda with CDS is on as well, so he can clarify any of my comments. But we have 50 units, 35 of those are directed towards seniors, and the other 15 are directed towards veterans in need of housing. And those veterans could be seniors as well. So, but that's the unit mix that we're looking at. It's my understanding we have 48 one bedroom and 2 2-bedroom.
Are directed towards veterans in need of housing, and those veterans could be seniors as well. So, but that's the unit mix that we're looking at. To my understanding, we have 48 one bedroom and 2 2-bedroom. Veterans and the veterans could be seniors as well. Computer speaker, I think.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not sure if somebody was asking me a question. I was getting some feedback there.
So Ben, thank you very much though for explaining the split that you're looking to get. It'll be good for the veterans in our area.
Great project.
I'm going to speak up.
Agreed. It sounds like a great project.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm not able to represent it, and as well, I be happy, obviously, to continue to answer questions.
I don't have any questions this time.
Not at this time.
One thing that we're going to be able to do is to try to be able to reach out to the veterans community locally. Obviously, everybody and anybody can apply for these, but I'm sure if we make an effort to let the veterans not just know about it, we'll make sure they have a good chance to get this out. So. Okay, I apologize for the TV issue on this. This is our first time out using the TV, so appreciate your patience. Again, we're going to keep the public hearing open. I'm going to ask you to be available for the next meeting too. Maybe at that time we'll plug you in and work a little bit better. So again, appreciate your patience with us.
Yeah,
So,
no, not a problem at all.
There are no further questions, Mike. There's no further questions. We'll close the public hearing and reschedule it for now.
We'll close the public hearing. Don't close it.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. We're going to keep it open. I'll have it for the next.
I do nothing.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Blakey, for the question.
Will be postponed to November 4th at 6:30.
Right. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Blakey, number 4.
Public hearing for the proposed local law enacting a one-year temporary moratorium of the solar array installations and solar utility substations. Whereas the town of Cicero has received applications for new commercial solar operations and solar utility substations within the town. And whereas the town does not currently have a comprehensive town policy or applicable town code provisions to guide the town when determining proper land use considerations associated with the request. And whereas the town recognizes the need to study the matter further and develop a comprehensive policy and code provisions, now therefore be resolved. The Cicero Town Board considers the proposed town of Cicero local law number 11, enacting a one-year temporary moratorium on the consideration, approval, and development of any and all commercial solar array installations and commercial solar utility substations within the town of Cicero for a period of 1 year from the active date of the local law or sooner if new legislation amending the policy or code of the town of Cicero addressing the commercial solar array permitting and installation is enacted. The purpose of this local law will be to stay all actions until the presentation, passage of amended town policy and code provisions dealing with proposed new commercial solar utility substations and approved. It is the intent of the local law to specifically exempt existing applications as of the date of the public hearing, as well as any and all non-commercial residential solar applications.
Second. Okay, just for the record, the clerk did provide documentation for this meeting. She did report at the time of this public hearing started. The motion second, discussion.
I would just like to reiterate that because of the many interested applications and the fact that the town really needs to have a local law to be able to, the codes department, to be able to monitor the new applications that would be coming in, I feel that this moratorium is in order. Thank you.
For the discussion. Okay, so we'll keep the public hearing open. So if any residents of the board members have any questions or comments on it, we can continue that again. It'll be for November 4th.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jonathan, number 5.
Whereas pursuant to New York real property tax law, section 102, sub 12, sub B, a solar or wind energy system is considered real property for the purpose of taxation once it is affixed to real property or structure. And whereas section 47 of the New York State Real Property Tax Law, or RPTL, currently allows owners of real property to apply for and obtain a 15-year exemption from additional property taxation related to improvements installed or fixed to the property for qualifying solar and wind energy systems. And whereas the RPTL allows local taxing jurisdictions to opt out and disallow the taxation exemption for solar and wind energy systems pursuant to section 47 by adopting local law specifically doing so, it is now hereby resolved, the Cicero Town Board calls for a public hearing on November 16, 2020, commencing at 6:30 p.m. local time, to consider the adoption of a local law pursuant to section 47 of the RPTL to opt out of allowing real property tax exemptions pursuant to section 47 of the RPTL and declare improvements related to solar and wind energy systems fully taxable in the town of Cicero.
I'll second that.
Any board members like to comment? They're exactly the same thing, the same subject on the solar, so they're, any board members have any comments?
None at this time for me, thank you.
No.
Okay, hearing no questions, clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blaney,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor DePaolo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted, thank you.
Mr. Supervisor, before we move on to the next agenda item, I'm doing what I wasn't going to do. We all probably need to slow down when we talk because they're having a hard time hearing us on YouTube. Right, Wayne?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Bill, if you can move close to your mic or be a suggestion to move that shield, but then you're
Okay,
talking right on over somebody.
right, we're trying not to do that, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, I will, thank you, Mike.
Town board approves the hiring of seasonal wingers. Whereas the highway department has a seasonal need this winter for winger positions, now therefore be it resolved, the town board approves the attached list of wingers effective 11/1/2020 at a pay rate of $18 per hour.
Second.
Discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blaney,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Aye.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor DePaolo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, thank you, item is adopted. Okay, next item 7, town board approves the construction of a booking room to be completed on the first floor of the building at 6200 Route 31 by In and Out Construction at a cost of $7,890. Whereas the police department prisoner booking room is currently in the basement of the building and needs to be moved to the first floor of the building. And whereas the police department obtained 3 quotes and recommends In and Out Construction as they were the only vendor that could complete the project in 2020 and was also the least expensive fully official quote obtained. Now therefore be resolved that the town board approves the construction of the first floor booking room at 6200 Route 31 to be completed by In and Out Construction, cost of $7,890, budget code B 312056.
Second.
Discussion on number 7. Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blaney,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor DePaolo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Thank you. Next item, number 8, town board approves moving of audio-visual recording equipment for the booking room moved by Priority Connections at a cost of $3,400.50. Whereas the police department prisoner booking room is currently in the basement of the building at 6200 Route 31 and needs to be moved to the upstairs first floor of the building. And whereas the police department vendor for the already installed equipment is Priority Connections, and the same vendor is needed to move and reinstall the equipment. Now therefore be resolved that the Cicero Town Board approves the moving of audiovisual recording equipment for the booking room moved by Priority Connections at a cost of $3,400.50, budget code B 312056.
Second.
Discussion on number 8.
Yes, Officer Freeman, I mean, what is it about the move of this equipment that it costs $3,400 to use?
It's actually more than just the recording equipment that's required for our bookings. It's also the door controllers. We're moving some from downstairs to upstairs. Lieutenant Myers can speak on this too. Okay, they're doing that stuff. We are using a sole proprietor to move cables to do this, but they have to disconnect every video and every microphone port in 3 rooms downstairs and reconnect them upstairs into the new rooms.
Okay.
Okay, and then they're taking our door controllers, so people can't get through the building if they're a prisoner. We're taking some of those from downstairs, since that'll be storage, and moving those upstairs. So that's moving controllers like a pin pad that's like at hand level, and a controller up in the ceiling, and disconnecting them and rewiring all that equipment.
All right, that sounds like a lot of work, so.
It is.
Thank you.
Further discussion on number 8. Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Council Boyd.
Yes.
Council Carr.
Aye.
Council White.
Yes.
Council McCallum.
Aye.
Supervisor Myers.
Yes, item is adopted. Thank you. Judy?
The board declares the following items from the Parks Department's surplus. Whereas the Parks Department would like to declare the following items surplus and of no use to the town, and to be sent to auction and,
What did you?
no and in there, sorry. A 48-inch commercial garland stove, exhaust hood, Ostrich, Ansel system, freezer chest, GE 14.4 cubic, 74-inch commercial 3-bay sink, stainless steel fire panel behind the stove, grease trap, Rockford sanitary system, 2 Rockwall playground boards. Whereas the above items have no value to the town, now therefore be it resolved that the town board approves of these items for auction.
Second.
Discussion on number 9.
I will explain. These items are all coming out of the building where the Parks and Rec are going to be moving at Williams Park. This was part of a facility of one of the pavilions, and it's in no longer use. But that's where the equipment is coming from.
And the building itself.
Yes, sir.
Further discussion on number 9. Clerk will call the roll.
Council Boyd.
Yes.
Council Carr.
Yes.
Council White.
Yes.
Council McCallum.
Aye.
Supervisor Myers.
Yes. Item is adopted. Thank you.
Trimming of hazardous tree limbs at Riverside Cemetery. Whereas several branches of a huge oak tree at Riverside Cemetery are dead and a hazard to nearby resident structures, utility lines, and gravestones. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town contracts with on-site development to cut and remove the hazardous branches at Riverside Cemetery under Onondaga County. Contract number 968-88 in the amount not to exceed $7,200. Budget code A881040.
Second.
Discussion on number 10.
Just a little note, it's kind of sad because I believe this is one of the oldest oak trees around. That is what I've been told by the historians of Brooklyn. So obviously, when you get old, you lose your branches.
Not hearing any further discussion, clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Boyd.
Yes.
Councilor Carr.
Aye.
Councilor White.
Yes.
Councilor McCallum.
Aye.
Supervisor Myers.
Yes. Item is adopted. Thank you. Down to number 11.
Whereas the courts would like to apply for the 2020-2021 JCAP, Justice Court Assistance Program grant for the following items: 1 standalone color copy machine, 4 webcams and speakers, 2 desks for chambers, 2 chairs for chambers, a total of $3,730.66. Now therefore be resolved that the town board approves the application for the JCAP grant.
Second. Discussion on number 11. Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyd,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor McCallum,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Thank you. Number 12, approve appointment of records access appeals officer, whereas the town of Cicero needs to fill the position of records access appeals officer due to the retirement of the previous person. Now therefore be resolved, the town of Cicero appoints Stephen Procopio as the record access appeals officer effective October 28th, 2020. Second. Discussion on number 12. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyd,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Aye.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor McCallum,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes. Item is adopted. Thank you. Duty number 13.
Crown Castle easement amendment. Whereas the town of Cicero and Crown Atlantic Company LLC entered into a grant of easement and an assignment of lease dated September 8th, 2008. And the easement and lease agreement were recorded in the office of Onondaga County Clerk as instrument number 74869 on December 8th, 2008, in book 5069 of deeds at page 745. And whereas the original lease language incorrectly described the grant of easement as exclusive, despite the fact the area was common and used by the public and others. And whereas an amendment of the lease is recordable in recordable form is required to cure the title defect and provide access across the area. And whereas a copy of the proposed memorandum of First Amendment to grant of easement and easement of lease and First Amendment to grant of easement and assignment of lease have been provided to the board and is now hereby resolved. The adoption of a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a memorandum of the First Amendment to grant of easement and assignment of lease between the town of Cicero and Crown Atlantic Company LLC.
Discussion on this item.
Just like to thank our town attorney for his exhaustive and diligent efforts which took place over a very long, surprisingly long period of time to get this done.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Discussion on this item. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyd,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Aye.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor McCallum,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Thank you. When we started the meeting, we had a number of people sign in, but we had some other ones. I just want to make sure that we get them acknowledged. So we have Dick Urella, the engineer, Chris Bosnicka, the highway superintendent, Nicole Walsh, Seaver Taxes, and Robert Jermaine, the town attorney. So I want to make sure that they're recognized. Okay, next item is 13, seeker 2021 preliminary town budget. We're resolved that the proposed preliminary budget for 2021 is an unlisted action for the purpose of seeker compliance. The proposed action involves no permit granting authorities outside the town, and the preliminary budget will not have a negative impact on the environment. It does not require preparation of a draft environmental impact statement.
Second.
Discussion on number 13. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyd,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Aye.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor McCallum,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Thank you. Number 14, adopting preliminary 2021 town budget. I'm sure the residents have noticed that we have made a very sincere effort this year to try to make sure that all the budget items are out, and on YouTube, and all the members of the board have an opportunity to review and discuss, debate the budget process. So that being said, number 14, adopt preliminary 2021 town budget, whereas the town board was presented and previewed the town budget by town supervisor the town controller, now therefore resolved, the town board adopts the Cicero preliminary budget for 2021.
Second,
Second, discussion. I know a number of members have suggestions and ideas on this, so I'll start with Mr. Blakey, and if you have items that you'd like to introduce, make amendments or discussion for those.
not at this time. I have spent exhaustive hours along with other board members and our comptroller, who I commend for her efforts being new to the process. And obviously, this is just a preliminary, and we still have, more that has to be looked at and discussed, now that it is, in a, form, so that everyone has an opportunity to see exactly where we are.
Okay. Jonathan?
Thank you. I would comment that this, once again, I'm reiterating what Ms. Boyke said, it's not a final budget. There were a lot of cuts, a lot of good cuts suggested by the members of the board, and I commend them for their work along with our comptroller, and I think a lot of them were good. I have some concerns about some of them. I think that some of the cuts that were made are probably going to have to be added back in. I look, for example, one of the big items that sticks out to me is snow plows. So I'm looking at a list that was provided to the board by the highway superintendent and our snow plows. We have 4 that are 2005s. We have 2 that are 2007s. Several, it's been a couple 2009s. So I'm not going to go with everything. This is an example. There's a 13-month lead time. It used to be 10 because of COVID or whatever. Now it's 13 months. So, and the one we ordered and paid for last year is not going to be here. I think Mr. Lesnick, and correct me if I'm wrong, until March of 2021. So we won't have it for this winter. So we don't order a budget for a snowplow in 2021, and we don't order it. What's going to happen is it's going to be, we're going to push the order of a year out. And then the delivery is going to be, a year or so out after that, which means that we don't get to use snowplows until 2023. But the problem is we know that we have a time bomb in the next year's budget with that, which means that next year's going to be a really tight year budget wise too. So we shouldn't assume that we're going to have $250,000 by another snowplow next year, which puts the replacement of another snowplow off until 2024, because you won't be ordering it until 2022. And at that point, say the one we ordered this year replaced 105, that means we still have 3 19-year-old snowplows. Now, I don't know, not a whole lot of people drive 19-year-old cars. And, our cars don't carry the kind of load of snowplows carry or carry highly corrosive materials, although fortunately we don't know how to drive when we store the doors and be washed off. So that's a concern I have. I have raised some concerns with the board earlier. I talked to judges, I am the liaison of the courts. They had some concerns about some cuts that were made, and I explained to the board why, at least with regard to 2 items, why the money needed to be restored. So this, again, my colleagues did an excellent job. I think most of these cuts are going to remain, and probably some, people who run some departments are going to be unhappy. But I think there's going to need to be some adjustments now that we, as the board, can look at where we're at and then talk to the department heads and elected officials about what's a need to have and what's a want to. And I think that, I don't know if Mr. Lesnick has any comments he wants to make. I see him on there. It's Mike's turn. Mike is unmuted. I invited the judges to be present tonight. They declined. They like to stay out of the political process, and I understand that it's separation of powers. But again, I want to thank the other board members. I suggested a few cuts, but they really did an extraordinary amount of work with our comptroller, and they did an excellent job.
Mike?
Thank you, Supervisor. I appreciate it. I can't believe it. The town of Cicero, we were able to reach across the aisle and work together to try to get the best budget possible. And again, what Councilor Carp said, there will be adjustments. Absolutely. It's a nice way to get the conversation started. I appreciate all the work from Councilor Boyke. I appreciate all the work from Councilor Carp. I appreciate all the work from Councilor White. And again, from Supervisor Meyer. I know we do get heated during these board meetings. I believe it's because we all have passion for the town of Cicero. And this is the first time in a long time that we've all been able to get our thoughts out together. So I'm very, very pleased of that process. So again, I think all of the other elected officials.
I want to make sure that all the department heads know that it's not a personal thing, but that we have to do these cuts. It's extraordinary times. This isn't a normal year. Next year is not going to be a normal year either. We're going to try and get back to normal as quickly as we can. Our fees are going to be down, our state aid is going to be down. We're doing the best that we can. I agree with Councilor Clark that we need to know what you need to have to run your department, and not just what is nice to have or what you're used to having. So if you can just get some thoughts down, I've got some from some of the department heads that are great, and we'll keep working on
Okay, I want to make sure that all the board members understand, because I'm getting the sense that you don't. The tentative budget that was put out, if there are requests for changes, you need to request for changes. You know, it's line for line. You need to adjust, you know, let's make a motion. If you want to adjust the paving budget, or if you want to do some of the other ones, then that's the board's decision, and we vote on those changes. I'm not accepting the changes, I'm opening it up so that you can make amendments to the tentative budget. We vote on those items, and then we vote on the amended item. So if you have items you would like to suggest for changes, then bring those up.
I'm not,
No,
so is the, okay, I'm seeing furrowed brows, so I think everybody's a bit confused. What we have here, the cuts that were made over the weekend, is that?
Those are proposals, those are not items that I accepted. My item is the tentative budget. I'm not accepting the tentative changes. Those are discussion items.
Okay.
Those were not items that I said, oh yeah, that's fine. If I said, yeah, that's fine, that's why early on, I mentioned, if you have items that you would like to all of us agree upon, we can get those agreed upon. If you have ideas, then I'm open to the ideas. We can go through each one of the items that you have come up with, and we can vote on those. And if those are the items that the body is agreed upon, then those are the items that become voted on and approved in the preliminary budget.
I guess I'm a little bit, okay, and I understand the position now. Given the fact that this was emailed out over the weekend, given the fact that there has been significant discussion over email in which all the board, including the supervisors, have been copied, the fact that no mention was made of what you just said, and the fact that it appeared quite clearly that other department heads along with this board were under the impression that this was going to be the tentative budget, and obviously it was an incorrect impression. I'm just surprised at the silence from you, considering the fact that it was very clear that we were all operating, I think, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, under the assumption that this is what we were going to be working with tonight.
Right,
So,
and I said also, if you would like to, if you had any amendments, to bring them and send them to the comptroller, send them to the clerk, so and make them clear so that we could identify them.
you did, and I made two today. It was restoring some of the cuts that were made from the
Right.
proposed cuts. So the fact that there was no, hey, John, why are you talking about restoring something that was never cut to begin with? Again, the silence from you seemed to indicate to me, and again, am I wrong to anybody else that this is what we were working with? So can we,
my opinion is that we had a tentative budget. We have worked diligently, all of us, working with the departments to put this together along with our comptroller. Once we came to a preliminary budget that would be put out to the public for their opinion, it becomes the board's budget. And the board, each one of us has the opportunity one more time to make any changes before the preliminary budget is voted on. This is the process. This is the process that I went through. This is the process that I went through prior to I even became a supervisor in 2010. I experienced a huge cut in everything when I became supervisor, so I'm well aware of the process of the budget. If the case is that this is a tentative budget still, and we are voting on to become preliminary, then when it comes up to vote, my vote will be no, because we have not finished our process to prepare and present and vote on so that our budget is intact for the year 2021.
Okay, so I am again saying that you have items that you have suggested. I'm saying to you now, if you have an item, present those items. Go up and down the list. Before you make a decision, that will become the preliminary budget.
Like, what, can we just, and maybe like this, returning, instead of doing line by line, we can do it as a whole. Can we do it as a whole? And then, you know, I'm gonna vote. I sent the board earlier, which apparently were premature. Modify a couple of those items, but I mean, can we just do it as a whole? District remain, is there any reason why we can't? We've got it, I mean, basically what I call an exhibit here. I mean, it's been modified. It was prepared by the comptroller's office and distributed to the entire board. So can we just do it as a whole, or do we have to do it line by line, Mr. Chairman? I see you nodding, but I'm not sure. You're muted. Still muted.
Robert, you're muted if you can hear us.
Yeah, I'm trying to change it. You can do it either way. You can do it as a whole or line by line.
Fine. Then I would be adopting a resolution to modify or to adopt the modifications present in the document, which I guess we can make part of the record. That was prepared by the comptroller as a consultation with the board. I'm going to move to do that now, and then I will move for additional modifications after we've done it. So I've made a motion.
I'll second that though.
Okay, Jonathan, I'm looking for clarification. You're looking for modification beyond the modification?
Yeah, I think the cleanest way to do it would be to adopt this, and then if there's going to be modifications, do them afterwards, rather than adopt it as modified.
Okay. Okay, so we have, so you're gonna make another amendment?
After this, yeah, I think procedurally, I'd rather adopt it as a whole and then modify that document.
Okay. Okay, I apologize, I did not hear the second.
I second.
This question. Okay, so we have a motion for the amendment for the documents that are presented by.
So simply stated before we begin, we're voting on this. What we did.
Right, and we are voting on it.
Then you're making an adjustment back.
That's correct. And there will be other adjustments. This is not in any way, I don't believe any of this.
So there's going to be a couple of votes.
Yeah, right now. And the benefit of anyone who is watching this, the preliminary budget is the fallback budget if we do not adopt another budget. And given the tax increase combined with the massive use of fund balance that was present in the prior budget, we're going to fall back on something, honestly, we're going to fall back on this because it's going to leave us, the other would leave us in very, especially fund balance, for next year.
Okay, so we have a motion and second, further discussion on the amendment.
I believe it's under the cap by remembrance.
Still is,
It is.
still is.
For now.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah, no.
If there's no further discussion, we'll, vote on the amendment offered by Mr. Brown. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyd,
Yes.
Counselor Carter,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor McCallum,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
No, the amendment passes. Further amendments?
And again, these are only the first of two, because I think all of us are going to have some. Want me to, Mr. Meyer, do you care, or would you prefer if I do the lines individually or as a whole?
Well, once you go individual, I don't have your hands.
All right, so, I move to amend, and this is with regard to the courts, and this is only the first, it's not, not the additional. Move to amend, line A111042, which, deleted $7,000 to restore that $7,000. And I'll explain why in the discussion.
Need a second.
Second.
Second. Just for explanation, you're reversing an item that was passed in the, or two, an item that was passed in the first amendment.
I am, yes.
Just for clarification. Okay, discussion, further discussion on amendment.
I've had extensive discussion with the judges about this. They indicate that is software that they are aware that that is the cost, the software that they are required by the OCA or Office of Court Administration to purchase. It's not anything speculative. That is the actual cost and it is a requirement. So it needs to be in the budget.
Further discussion on the amendment? Never mind. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blakey.
Yes.
Counselor Carr.
Aye.
Counselor Wood.
Yes.
Counselor McCollum.
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes. Amendment is, approved.
An additional amendment to offer with regards to postage line, it also records A1110435. The budget, proposed budget was 10,000. It was reduced to 8,500. I'm moving that we restore it to 10,000, and I will explain why in the discussion.
Need a second.
Second.
Discussion?
The reason why there was a massive increase from previous years was the fact that the bail reform, which we've all heard a lot about more now during election season, requires 3, 4, 5, 6 notices sometimes per file to be sent out by mail to defendants, whereas previously there were no notices. They would tell the person, all right, the next court date is June 30th, see you then. But now every time they come to court, even if they have an attorney who's supposed to remind them, they get sent something in the mail. So the $10,000 that was in there, it reflects changes that occurred in the law last year. So it's nothing that would have been reflected in prior years. And they tell me that 10,000 is the bare minimum. This is going to be the first year where it'll fully be in effect. 2020 would have been, but COVID, of course, has been shut down. So in future years, it may even be more, but they tell me that's the bare minimum. So I'm asking that to be restored to 10,000.
I'll second. Discussion on the amendment. When I heard the comments from the courts that even if they defendant had an attorney, they still had to send out the additional notices, I said, why it's hard to believe, are you sure? And they assured me, yes, we have to keep sending those notices out. It's, what do they say, only and only. So, hearing no further discussion, clerk will call the roll on the amendment.
Counselor Blakey.
Yes.
Counselor Carr.
Aye.
Counselor White.
Yes.
Counselor McCollum.
Having talked to John last night, I do appreciate the information. Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes. Amendment is adopted. Thank you. Any further amendments?
Not at this time.
Not at this time. I have, obviously, we received more information and the amount of time that I've spent so far, I depended upon other counselors to keep me informed, which has happened. And we obviously have an extensive amount of time that we got to take a look at our highway department and the vehicles involved. It's just a tough situation that we're in. And obviously we need to keep our roads cleared and our roads paved if we can afford it, which is another situation. So I will have further amendments, but obviously I'm not prepared to discuss all of those at this time.
I guess, Mr. Meyer, Supervisor, in terms of future amendments, if they all, I mean, perhaps we should try to, vote on them individually at the next meeting. If they need to be voted on, try to compile something that can be voted on as a whole at the next meeting.
We can do that. I would suggest that there may be some items that we can have, I'm going to call it consensus on.
Okay.
And put all the consensus items in one, and have them line by line.
I do agree with that.
Right. And then I'm not in the fantasy of assuming we're going to get 5 agreements on every single item. And mindset that you and I agree upon everything one of us is thinking. So if that's the case for these 2 people, how is it going to be? So, but if there are items that we can agree upon, all of us, we can just put it as part of the budget and then move on. And then that's the individual items and on a case by case basis.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so there we are. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, Mike. Did you have any other items, amendments?
The current budget that we have for preliminary was my main attempt.
Okay, thank you.
Not your time.
Not today, but there will be.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that being said, I have a few comments. A number of the items that were offered in the consolidated amendment, I'm gonna call it the consolidated amendment, because we didn't have, itemized out, so to speak. We saw them. I have to comment that, in my dealings with the town and the Cicero residents, a number of those items are frankly out of touch. Because one thing that we learned over the last few months is, and I heard many times by many of us, fix roads, fix roads, fix roads. And when we were having opportunity earlier this year, we did have an opportunity to do some more roads, had some savings from salt and sand. So we took the initiative to get some more roads fixed. But this item and a number of these cuts, frankly, cutting highway equipment like that, I just don't think that would be acceptable. The town of Cicero owns a very, very valuable piece of property out at the lake. In my opinion, it's probably one of the most valuable parts of that whole section of the lake. We have very limited access to that lake. The folks who own property along the lake pay a lot of taxes for that private access that many of them have. And frankly, the let them eat and take approach of not having access and have children and seniors have access to the lake, I think is very short-sighted. So
I'm sorry, you were referring to the beach?
to the beach,
Okay.
to the beach. So right now, the way it is, kids can't even get out and get into the sand because it's restricted. So it's very disappointing. There was one item that was presented to the board from one of our residents who I called upon many times. I'm going to call it kitchen cabinet person. I'll read it for the record. I know that the 2021 will be like no other budget up to this time. Both the state and county have indicated that their funding lines for the town for 2021 will be reduced by at least 20%. There are also concerns as to whether their promises for 2020 will be cut. We have already in 2020 had to spend funding not on budget for COVID-19 items. I reviewed the budget for 2021. I'll ask you to consider the following questions of budget reduction items. Review what it costs in total for each cost center, including fringe benefits. What is expected fund balance as of 12/31/20? How many dollars have been spent to date on 2020 for non-budgeted items? Example, police cameras, 28,000. Consider the following budget adjustments. Eliminate all salary increases for elected officials and appointed board members. This will include the planning for ZBA separate review. Potential savings, $8,147 plus boards. Eliminate paving for the year 2021. Potential savings, $825,000. Eliminate all rehab and improvements for 2021. This does not include $50,000 for the police department. Potential savings, $240,000 change. Remove purchasing of new equipment from the budget. Potential savings, $415,000. Eliminate any money to do with economic development in the Route 11 corridor. Savings, $105,000. All the items to be listed from the budget, pension savings of approximately 1.6 million. I rounded that number up. If no other numbers were to be changed, the fund balance sheet could be reduced to $506,173. I know the budget process is very complicated and has political ramifications. For each board member, I just ask you to review and consider the budget as if it were your own. To use 2.1 million for our savings account this year will put us in an impossible situation for 2022. Thank you for your time and consideration of my comments. Now, Snyder and listed a number of other items that will be put in the record. So we have a diverse number of opinions on this, which I totally expect to be respect.
Thank you. If I could offer a couple of comments.
Sure.
I agree with you with some of the highway equipment. One of the elements I can offer is restoring the purchase of the snowplow. I mean, it's a lot of money, but again, I look at how old some of our equipment is. I just don't think we can buy another one. far as the beach goes, that was my suggestion, it's also my suggestion last year for the 2020 budget. It was one I took lightly, although I am recalling that we shut it down at one point because you couldn't get lifeguards. I wouldn't call it let them eat cake. We do have United Shores in the area. It's not so, Williams Beach was not really beach access. Again, not something I take lightly. I'd love to have the beach open. But, looking for places to cut, and that's something we have problems with before anyway. I think that was a natural place to look. So I agree a lot of the cuts are things that are gonna have to be reversed and modified. So, and so I agree with you to a large extent, Supervisor Meyer. Please, and I felt I've been clear, but in case I haven't, don't take my offering this amendment as a whole as supporting everything. It was just a starting point, start at a bare bones austerity budget and then work backwards with what's necessary, as opposed to starting off with, everybody doing their job and asking for everything they can and cutting from there. I think it's it's a different way to do it. We're doing this year. Again, thank the board members for putting the effort, the effort for it, and we'll see how it goes. But, again, a lot of these cuts are going to have to be, not a lot, they're going to be monitored in the first. And I look forward to working from the other side, from a down upward instead of up downward with the rest of the board. That's all I have to say at this time.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have United Shores. Some of the areas there, as you know, have boat access, and that kind of cuts it down. And then there's other areas to the other end that has fishing. So we're very fortunate. So hopefully we can open up. Unfortunately, part of the problem we have with the swimming at Williams Beach is at the bottom end of the scale. We're competing with a lot of other people, and that was part of the idea in the tentative budget is when we're dramatically less than what these folks could get at other employers up and down the street. It puts them in a very difficult situation. I've had a number of conversations with the parks director and the previous park director to see if we can be a little more innovative and try to offer these young people some other benefits they can't get other places. So again, the staff, all the staff from one end and every department has been very creative. They've been mission oriented from the very beginning to adapt and serve the public. Again, I have to tip my hat to all of them. So
In Williams Beach, don't forget about the other opponent that closes the beach down quite a bit, the green and algae.
correct.
Just on the court, actually, I agree with you about the pay. And I don't know if you will pay attention at the time because you're not on the board, but your predecessor and I had a disagreement where I was saying that if we can't get lifeguards, but they're out there, then, supply and demand dictates that we need to pay them more. And I don't know that with everything going on, this is the year to do that. Doesn't mean we won't be doing it in the future.
I'd like to start out on the positive and say, okay, let's try it and give it a try. If we can't do it, we can't do it. Which, make it a sincere effort to try. Again, working with the parks director, current and previous, we're now in a situation where we've been successful in getting tuition credits with local colleges, and we could offer internships, college credit, independent study credits for these students to work with them. So again, I haven't seen a college student yet that didn't want to get a easy 3 hours a day over the summer. So we're being more innovative, and it's a positive stuff. Okay, further discussion on preliminary budget for 2021 as adopted. Further discussion? No. Further discussion? Okay, clerk will call the roll.
Council Blakey.
Yes.
Council Card.
Aye.
Council White.
Yes.
Council Collins.
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
No, item is adopted. Okay, the next item is 16, set a public hearing for 2021 town Cicero budget, whereas town Cicero established a preliminary budget for 2021. Now therefore be resolved that the board sets a public hearing for November 4th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. at the Cicero Town Hall, 8236 Orton Road, to consider the 2021 preliminary budget, including special district. And obviously, November 4th is not a regular scheduled meeting, so the clerk will be sending out a special meeting notice. So Any second?
Second.
There a second discussion, one,
Supervisor, I believe the
Just please include the fire production.
I think I should, yes, if the clerk does that, I'm going to repeat it, include special districts, including the fire protection district. Thank you.
Clint Blank, Tracy, sorry.
Second. Or did second.
I'm just going to give the clerk a moment, she's writing very quickly here. Okay, okay, clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Bowles,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Carroll,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes. Item is adopted. The clerk wanted me to remind everyone that election day is coming up, and this building is a polling place, so we will not be open that day. Obviously, the other essential services like the police department like that will be open, but this building will not be. And we'll be meeting on November 16th, I believe is the date. The clerk will correct me if I'm wrong. That's a Monday. It's not a regular Wednesday meeting. So residents, please note the dates and please stay up and I'll use some town Cicero on the website. So that being said, any other discussion items from the board?
Other than the last part you said, like TV announcer.
Okay, thank you. Hearing none. Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.